Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're working on the GSXR project bike. I'm not sure if you guys have been following the series or not, but I got this 1000 engine swapped into a 750. It's a 2001. That kind of generation. I believe it's the 01, the 02, and the 03s are very similar from the 600 right through 1000. So yeah, we're going to be changing the spark plugs and the air filter on my 01 here. So pretty basic procedure, although I haven't done it yet. I don't anticipate any big hiccups. The basic premise is that we have to remove the air box from the throttle bodies, get it out of there so we can get at the spark plugs and change those. And then when we got the air box off, we can obviously change the filter there. So yeah, it should be pretty straightforward. I have links in the description on where to get all the parts. Tools, we'll figure that out as we go. I'm going to be doing it just like for the very first time, like I said. So I'll be learning just like you guys. I've done spark plugs on lots of different vehicles before. It's typically not very difficult. So you know, anybody can do your own maintenance on your bikes and your vehicles if you just you know, do your homework and don't mess up. We're going to get a gapping tool as well. I imagine these are pre-gapped from the factory, but we'll just double check them before we put them in. And yeah, let's get into the video. All right, so first thing you're going to want to do is remove the two bolts up front here. I don't know if they're 8mm or what size they were. Yeah, they're pretty small. I think they might be 8mm. Pull those off, and if your bike has it, it should be in the rear seat area. You can prop your tank up, okay? So if the bottom's on a hinge, go ahead, prop your tank up, put it through the steering stem here, up through one of the holes. That gets your tank propped up. That will show you your air box, okay? So there's a few hoses and a few electrical clips you got to take off, okay? First one we're going to do here is this green clip. You just push it in and pull it down, pretty straightforward. You got yourself a little butterfly clip here. Push that butterfly clip down and then wiggle this tube off, okay? Now if you go on the other side, I'm doing a flashlight. So I got my truck parked in the well lit side. It's all shined up. It's not usually like this. On this side here, you're going to disconnect this one plug here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then there's another hose back in there, right there. So take that butterfly, let me see if I can zoom in. Take that clip down and pull down on that. And then there's another little hose right here that goes in with that electrical connector. Little tiny hose, okay? Pretty much anything that's connected to the air box, you've got to get rid of. So after you get those four done, or those connectors, you have four little Phillips that hold the throttle bodies on, okay? So the throttle bodies are, there's four of them because it's a inline four. There's little Phillips, 1, 2 on this side, and if you go on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. Zoom in here a bit. See it right there. There's the clips, there's the two, right? Loosen those pretty much all the way off. And then what I was doing is, I got a flathead screwdriver, and I kind of propped it in here. Oh, sorry, there's one 10mm bolt up here. I forgot about that one. Remove that 10mm bolt, and then you should be able to kind of wiggle this air box loose, okay? Now, if it hasn't been moved in a while, it might be kind of lodged in there pretty good. So you might need a screwdriver. I kind of just lightly pry it up on different spots. Make sure you know what you're prying on. Don't break nothing. And you can dislodge the air box, and then we can get at the throttle bodies and the spark plugs. Alright, so there's the top side there. We got the throttle bodies, 4 of those, and then we got our 4 spark plugs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, good practice to do is to get a couple of rags, well, 4 of them actually. 1, 2, 3, and just, well, make sure they're clean, and just tuck them into the throttle bodies. Just while you're working, you don't want any dirt going down into those throttle bodies, okay? All right, hose are covered up. Now we should be able to get at the spark plugs here. All right, next step, once you got your throttle bodies plugged up, you got your 4 spark plugs. There's little clips here. You just push these in and pull them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. They should roughly stay in the same position, right? They are actually labeled. Mine are 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, you don't want to get them mixed up, but ideally they just stay where they are. Now these are the coil packs, right? So these coil packs here, now they probably will be pretty seized in there. It's an old bike. You're gonna have to kind of wiggle them around and then give them a tug, and they should pop right out. Let's see if I can get one here on cam. Oh, there she goes. That's the sound they make. A little rubber seal. So pop those 4 out, and we will have access to the actual spark plugs, which are below. All right, once you got your coil packs popped out, they definitely could be a little bit stubborn, especially my number 1 over there. It was a real peckerhead. I actually grabbed a little pair of pliers, and I was able to grab onto it and just wiggle straight up. You know, don't break this housing, but just give it a little wiggle just to break some of the seal there. And then I went ahead and labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4. Not entirely necessary. I mean, I don't really think it matters if you did get them mixed up. I just want to put stuff back the way it is. So now you go ahead, you can remove your coil packs and break the torque on your spark plugs. This is going to be 5/8. I've got an actual spark plug socket with an extension, and you get down there and you just pop those open, okay? Shouldn't be on there too tight. And then remove all 4 spark plugs, and we'll go ahead to the bench and we'll compare them to the old ones, or to the new ones rather. Alright, so I was looking at this, and I don't know what the deal is, but if for some reason my spark plug wrench, I don't know if the rubber's gone inside of it or not, but it wouldn't grab the spark plugs and pull them out of the hole. So I actually had to go and get one of my little magnets, okay? And then I was able to go down and just, once it was all the way off, I was able to pull it out nice and easy. And then I went ahead and put the coil packs back in the holes so that no dirt or debris gets in there. Having a look at them, they're not looking in the best shape, that's for sure. Compare that to a new one. I bought 4 of these Autolite Extreme Sport Iridium. I guess that's how you pronounce them. You know, they're supposed to be those super long lasting spark plugs, so I went ahead and gapped it. Let me put the camera down here and I'll show you how to use a gap tool if you've never used it. So pretty much how you use these is you pick these up for real cheap online. You just start at 0, 2, 0, slide it in, and you're just going to basically bring it around until you feel some resistance and just have a look at where it is. So I'm right at 030, and the specs for these are 028 to 031. So I'm right there. Okay, now for instance, if you had one that was really sloppy and it went all the way to 040, you would just lightly tap this spark, the head down, and then stick it back in, and then just work it and slowly open it up to basically 030. Yeah, so it's kind of a little bit too tight, but yeah, right there, not bad. So, I mean, basically they're pre-sparked, pre-gapped, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead. I've always been a fan of putting a bit of copper anti-seize on the threads. Don't put it on the actual spark plug portion, just the teeniest little dab. Right there, just like that. And then when you thread it in, that'll help it from seizing in the future. Not that these were hard to get off. Whoever was working on this previously put them on, the anti-seize on, and it definitely did its job. So I'm going to go ahead, take the caps off all these spark plugs, put the anti-seize on, and I'll reinstall them. Alright, so I've got my copper anti-seize. I went ahead and did this first spark plug. Just to show you what's going on, you're going to take your coil pack out. Nice and easy, try to drop the spark plug in. Always start your spark plugs with just by hand. Just like that. Kind of work it backwards. You do not want to cross thread these. gonna be in deep shit. And all you're gonna do is take your wrench and just snug them up. You see, that's it. Just a little bit of oomph. All right, this spark plug number 1. You know, it's a bit of a peckerhead. I had to get in behind these cables and I actually put in a knuckle on the end of the socket with the extension because I could not get a proper angle to get the thread started. It was going to cross thread, so that kind of gave me a little bit of a turn to kind of get it straight. And I was able to start it by hand, and then I snugged it up. But this helped me quite a bit if you can get a little knuckle on the end of your 5/8 spark plug socket. All right, then fan's on. All right, so what you're gonna do then is you're just gonna push the coil pack inside, and you should feel it kind of go snug up onto the spark plug right there. Just till it bottoms out. Now this spark plug number 1 was really tight for me. Like the wire that connects to the coil pack was really tight. So I'll have to do that off camera, but you push them all in, you're gonna put your clips back in, make sure they're connected nice and snug. And then we'll get on to the air filter. All right, so getting at the air filter, the air box now. Pretty straightforward, but there's a whole pile of these Phillips screws all the way around it, and then there's one in the center. You might need a bit of a longer screwdriver. I managed to get it with just the multi, but don't forget that one. You can take that all apart, and then you should. I have to put the camera down for this one here. A couple more turns. There we go. Woo. Try not to drop everything. Oh yeah, K&N. Woo. That's awesome. Well, that'd save me about $100. Oh, it's brand new. That's great, I don't have to clean it. Looks like it was literally just installed. So I'm going to spray it down with some oil, K&N oil. I'm just going to put her back in. I'll leave a link in the description for the multi-kit for this, cabin air filter and the engine air filter, the cleaner and the oil spray. This stuff, I've been using this for years and years, and you always see a whole pile of crap come flying out once you spray this stuff in. Alright, last step is to remove your plugs, throttle body plugs. And I'll try and do this on camera, but she might be a two-handed operation. You know, you're going to wiggle this carefully back into place. Yeah, I definitely got to put the camera down, but just be really careful trying to get the boots back on the throttle bodies correctly, okay? Alright, I managed to land it pretty good. You know, like I was saying, make sure you push down and you get all 4 throttle bodies, the boots back on the top for the airbox. Then I noticed, like, it seems like there's a teeny bit of a gap here at the ram air ducts. Almost like I need some more foam to kind of seal that up. I mean, it's not the end of the world because there's a filter obviously there, but I imagine you want this rushing air to come in and not be pulling in air from the chassis, but that's not really no big deal. I can fix that later. Just make sure these are all up, and then you're going to want to go ahead, connect your electrical here. You got one hose here. You got another hose in the middle. And then you come around the other side. You got a really small hose there, and then you've got your electrical here, and your last, that should be it, And then you got your Phillips, and you're going to want to tighten up all 4 throttle body hose clamps. And then you should be good. Hopefully she fires up.
Yeah, I got the juice, yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on.
Well, that worked just fine. A little bit of hesitation. I haven't fired the bike up in a long while, so everything seems to be working. That's it for the air filter and spark plugs. There isn't too much more to really do on this bike. A couple of odds and ends here. I got my whiteboard going again. I might not be able to pick it up with the camera here, but I wanted to paint the rear sets. Get my proper bolt set for this bike. I gotta bleed the brakes, lube the cables. I want to polish the exhaust, and I've got to build a custom license plate mount for the rear end of this thing. So I might do a separate video on it, but I basically made my own tidy tail with a Sawzall. I got it looking pretty good, and I'll do a nice video when I got the nice lighting on it. But she's really starting to look good. So anyhow, if you got a early 2000s GSXR, you'll want to consider subscribing, because I've got quite a few videos going on maintaining this this old relic of a super bike. It's been a pretty fun winter, and I can't wait to get her inspected and get it out on the road. So my goal is to get everything safetied by April 1st, and as soon as the weather hits there, put the insurance on it and head out for a rip. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.